Opposition protest against the Prime Minister and the Interior Minister took place today between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m, which saw some tense moments, clashes, stunts and fireworks being thrown into the Prime Ministry and the Interior Ministry. An unofficial non-paper draft circulating among member states of the European Union seen by Aura News suggests that opening negotiations with Albania and Macedonia will not occur. The Mayor of Tirana, Arion Veliaj, Culture Minister Mirela Kumbaro and the Albanian Ambassador to Italy, Anila Bitri, presented the project Zero Space, which represents our country at the Venice Architecture Biennial. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Saturday the 26th of May 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. Thousands of Albanian opposition supporters held an anti-government protest today, calling for the resignation of Prime Minister Edi Rama, whom they accuse of being linked to organised crime. Supporters led by the Democratic Party chair Lulzim Basha marched along the Dashmorata Kombit Boulevard, calling out "Rama, go!" They held anti-government posters, Albanian and European Union flags, and some threw stones and other hard objects at the Interior Ministry. There is only one way out. This government is being kicked out by the United People, said Basha. Basha said hundreds of thousands of supporters were taking part at the protest, but until now, the police have given no evidence to support this claim. Some protesters pulled down a fence at the Interior Ministry and tried to break the cordon of the police. The Democrats showed a picture of their newspaper's editor-in-chief, Bledi Kasmi, injured by the police. The protest ended peacefully after about 2 hours. Meanwhile, Rama posted a status on Facebook to thank the Democrats who do not support the government but still refuse to take part in the protest. The Democrats also accused the Interior Minister, Fatmir Jafai, of supporting his brother's drug-related activities. The minister denies the allegations, saying he would resign should the claims be proven. The Democratic Party chair, Lulzim Basha, has declared that the opposition will continue its actions. From the Blue headquarters, he stressed that the citizens today gave a strong message to what he calls the government of crime. Thank you for your national and European popular protest, for the clear message that the people sent today to the government of crime and corruption. Today, we said to Edi Rama and Fatmir Jafai, the only obstacles on Albania's path towards Europe are you. Today's struggle is part of the popular effort and action that will continue without stopping to liberation of Albania from the most anti-European government in Europe. Today, the Albanians spoke. Europe also spoke. There will be no talks on integration with a crime-related government. You are European Albanians. Edi Rama is a corrupt barbarian. You protested as Europeans against a government of crime, which is the main obstacle for our European Albania. Thousands of police officers respected the law, but some of them raised their hands to some of the protesters and injured them, including the newspaper editor-in-chief and journalist for Rilindia Demokratika, Bledi Kasmi. Responsible for this is Edi Rama and the Jafai brothers, and they will be held responsible for the acts of violence against protesters. Nothing stops Albania's march towards Europe. Rama's days are numbered, said Lulzim Basha. The Democratic Party chair delivered this statement following the conclusion of the opposition's protest. He also took a moment to express his gratitude to the citizens who attended the protest today. During the accountability tour, Rama spoke about the new development for projects of Bharat. The Prime Minister emphasised that tourism has the potential to bring enormous economic growth to this city. We have an extraordinary increase in the value of real estate as the result of an increase in the value of the demand to make use of this asset, which comes directly from the fact that there is significant transformation throughout the area, and especially in this city that is bringing tourists. From 13,000 tourists in 2013, there were 74,000 tourists last year. This year, the goal is to reach 100,000 tourists. This means more economy, business, employment opportunities and more investment, not just in the private sector, but also in the government and municipalities, said Edi Rama. Also, Rama said that a support fund will be created for all people who want to get out of poverty through agro-tourism. We will create a fund for all those who say they want to get themselves out of poverty, unemployment, and want to transform their home through agro-tourism or turn their micro-farm into a function of agro-tourism. We will build processes that will deliver more positive economic data in the future, said Edi Rama. Speaking of the job fair, Rama stressed that 10,000 people have been employed at a national level, while the final target is to see 25,000 people employed by the end of the year. Albania's path to opening negotiations with the EU will remain difficult until the very last moment. In an unofficial document obtained by Aura News, it is suggested the European Council will decide not to open negotiations with Albania and Macedonia at this stage. Referring to the European Commission's report on the 5 key priorities, the non-paper draft explains that justice reform is still in the first phase, and as such, it is impossible to assess the results given that they are yet to be determined. Also, in regards to public administration, the document predicts that corruption remains dominant in many fields and continues to be a serious problem, further impacted by the punishment of senior officials being extremely limited. The unofficial document claims that the fight against crime is insufficient due to limited law enforcement resources and weak institutions, and that concrete results in sentencing and seizing assets are rare. This is also one of the major concerns that the Netherlands has expressed about Albania. Circulating in the EU member countries, the unofficial document also talks of Europe's need to self-reform, a concern that has recently been firmly supported by France. Given all these reasons, according to this document, it is expected that Albania will be considered to have not yet met the conditions for opening negotiations. It is suggested the Council review the European Commission's next report in the spring of 2019 to see if Albania has made real progress across the 5 key priorities. The same conclusion has been reached for the neighbouring state Macedonia, where the main problem is the failure to achieve justice reform, public administration politicisation, high corruption and the inability to fight it. In Dibra, tons of cherries are being left to rot on the trees as farmers say they cannot find a market. Dibra is one of the leading regions for cherry production in the country. Around 2,500 hectares of land is cultivated throughout the region, and this year's plentiful production has filled markets. Farmers say traders pay up to 50 lek per kilogram, while it costs them 20 lek for the harvesting. Given the conditions of a lack of market, farmers say they will be forced to cut trees, as they did with the famous apples of Dibra. Transportation of products to Tirana is difficult to achieve due to the conditions of the road. The situation has been made worse as traders from eastern countries did not come this year, which has seriously damaged the farmers who are not throwing away their produce on a daily basis. With a symbolic touch, the capital of Albania opened its doors at the 16th Venice Architecture Biennial in Venice for foreign personalities of art, architecture, as well as hundreds of Albanian and foreign artisans. The Mayor of Tirana, Erion Veliaj, and Culture Minister Mirela Kumbaro, accompanied by the Albanian Ambassador to Italy, Anila Bitri, presented the project Zero Space, which represents our country at the Venice Biennial. The project displays a part of the urban environment, history and tradition of Tirana through the old doors taken from the capital's houses as an element to explain the space where the old and modern coexist. Mayor Veliaj said that this exposure is also a description of the work of the municipality of Tirana, indicating that the capital has opened doors for its friends. Considering it as an original city, he added that Tirana is making its mark in the world's most popular media, such as the prestigious Lonely Planet, which recommended Tirana as one of the top 10 cities to visit this year. I felt very proud this week for Tirana. It was one of the 10 locations recommended by Lonely Planet to be visited in 2018. Tirana certainly does not have the luxury, history or legacy that Italy has of the Renaissance and of the glorious epochs of the past, but it is obviously an original, said Erion Veliaj. Minister Kumbaro emphasised the importance of the project for Albania and the Albanian government, which is also an innovation for the department that she directs. In the Zero Space project, the old Tironan doors were chosen as an element to explain Tirana's mix of old and modern. The series of doors installed for the Zero Space project lines the transition between the interior and exterior in contemporary urban planning in Tirana, characterised by the presence of many shops, workshops and cafes present throughout the city and in service 24 hours a day for the citizens. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and have a lovely weekend.